Hey everyone, Brandon here with My Comic Universe.
And Brian here with My Comic Universe.
And welcome to My Comic Universe Talks Comics.
And everything about comics, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
But today we have something very important to talk to you guys about.
Yeah, we want to get a little specific with this episode because it's con season.
It
so
is.
With Palm Springs Comic Con and Long Beach Comic Con upon us, we want to go over a few tips.
Definitely.
This might be your first con, or maybe you've gone to one and realized how hectic it is. You definitely want to prepare for these cons.
That's for sure. I mean, I remember the first few cons that we went to, being a little ill-prepared made it a lot tougher to get through the day.
Yeah, definitely.
So
this will just be a few basics just to get you going for the cons. So to start off, this is an easy one. So bring some extra bags and boards.
Okay, yeah, every single time you go, a lot of vendors, and I've said it numerous times, and I know other collectors are kind of the same way, like me, where they say, these aren't bagged and boarded. Like, what are you, a savage? Like, come on, man. Like, keep them in good condition. People want to buy them in good condition. So I agree with that.
Yeah, that might be something that you don't really think about. You just go to the cons and then you end up buying some comics, and then you don't have any bags and boards. You just maybe assume they'll come with some, but they don't. So bring a few extras.
It's definitely worth it. And not just bags and boards. Actually bring yourself a bag to carry everything. Jeez.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? It's just like throughout the day you accumulate so much stuff that
you're walking around, you're holding a lot of stuff. And then that brings me to our next point, which is, we have these little binder portfolio things. They're pretty much containers for your comics. So you open them up, and you can store, I want to say, like 15 to 20 comics in these.
It looks like about that. Even in this picture, it looks like about that. So
they're pretty cheap.
Good.
You can get them about 2 for less than 20 on Amazon. They're a great protector for your comics.
You could also bring yourself some top loaders as well. That is a very big possibility. So that way, when you do get those key books, not only do you have them bagged and boarded, which a lot of vendors, they do sell most of those stuff, most of the keys and the sought after books already bagged and boarded. But like we said, bringing an extra bag and board, sorry, it couldn't hurt, right?
Yeah, you want to bring as much protection for your comics as possible. You want to protect your investment.
That's true. So bringing a top loader for that would be also appropriate as well. So, and then of course, sometimes these things fill up pretty quickly. So you may want to get yourself a couple of them online.
Definitely.
When you order. I actually just ordered 2 more just because I feel like I want one for signed books, and I want one for like books I'm bringing to get graded, and then I want one for like anything that I may be picking up. So I have enough room for all the things I'm going to get.
Yeah,
at least for comics.
You also want to organize them a little too. Otherwise, you're going to be flipping through all those, books and like figuring out when you want to get something signed, you want to be quick. If there's long lines, you want to be able to get that book easily. So if you have a book for your signed books, another book for some books that you're picking up, that's an easy way to be able to organize your stuff.
Yeah, and definitely, because the other people in line are not going to wait for you. They're just as impatient, and they just want to get their stuff signed. And a lot of times they're there with a witness from CGC or CBCS. And to be honest, those guys have other witnessing to do throughout the day, and all their staff has to constantly rotate. So be mindful that if you have it quick on the draw, you're ready to go, you get your signature, and you're on your way to go get your books graded. So just something to consider.
Yeah, or if you ever got like an autograph from Stan Lee, that everything is quick. You go through a line, you don't really get a chance to talk to him. You got to have your book out and ready to go. So that's definitely good for the cons.
But really what it comes down to is actually buying these books. And let's be honest, cash is king, guys. Like, everybody knows it.
That's a good point.
And that, I think, brings us to the next point we wanted to talk about is bring cash. Just bring cash.
You do not want to pay those ATM fees.
Yeah, the ATM fees will really get to you. Not to mention, sometimes the ATM machines, they'll be out of money because people have used they tapped them dry because they all went to them at the convention. They didn't bring cash with them, and some vendors. Not a lot, but there are still some of those old school vendors that aren't quite up to date, and they don't really have Venmo and stuff, and they're doing cash only.
Well, also, cash allows you to negotiate more. And, a lot of the times there's a bad internet connection at these cons.
What?
The card swipe things don't work as well. So
What?
with cash, a lot of these vendors are more likely to make a deal with you.
Yeah, I was able to snag myself for $10 a copy of Uncanny X-Men 221, the first appearance of Mr. Sinister, at Palm Springs Comic Con, which just happened this weekend, everybody, which was pretty cool. But I was able to snag that just because I had cash and the internet was down. And I said, hey, I got $10. And the guy was like, yeah, sure, I'll sell it to you for $10.
I did the same thing at the last Long Beach last year. For
That's
$20
right.
cash, I got the first appearance of Mr. Sinister, and I got the first appearance of Bishop.
Yeah, see? So, sometimes you can get those key issues or those first appearances, and you'll get them for the price you want just for bringing cash.
Yeah,
But
so use cash, negotiate.
the other thing is the lines at the ATMs. We almost forgot about that. And then you're waiting in another line just to get cash, and then another line to go get your signature, and then another line to get it graded. You're waiting in line all day then.
And then it wastes your time. One thing
Yeah.
about these cons is time goes by so quickly. You're waiting in long lines to get things signed. And since things take so long, that leads us to our next point. You're going to want to organize your day. So you're going to want to look at the times for when people are doing their signings. I can't even tell you how many times when I first started going to cons, I would go up to an artist's, table or booth, and they weren't there.
Yeah,
They
and
were at a
that
panel,
happens.
or they were just doing a specific time. So definitely, make sure you plan your day out, know who you're going to go see. You're going to want to look up who the artists are, who the writers are that are going to be there.
Let's talk about that. Who is going to be there? I mean, Long Beach Comic Con's coming up in 5-6 days now. 5 days. And I don't know about you, but I'm really excited for Dave Gibbons and for a couple of these guys
Scott
up here.
Koblish,
Scott's coming
Todd
back.
Knock,
Oh, man.
Tyler Kirkham.
Norm's going to be there? Norm Rapson?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. So you got Teen Titans creators. You've got Deadpool artists. I mean, come on. What more do you want? Like in a con? That's a pretty good lineup, though.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you know who's going to be there. You want to make sure you have time to plan out what books you want to get signed. I mean, so many times it's the day of the con, and I'm flipping through my collection, looking for the books to get signed, and, you miss one or two.
Right. Yeah, and I think the hardest part is when you're flipping through your collection, you may not realize, oh, wait, is this artist or this writer or that writer? So
Or a specific variant, done
Yeah.
by that artist.
So you may want to take the time during the week because Long Beach Comic Con is coming up, and if you're going, best thing to do, start now, start flipping through those short boxes before you get to the long ones, see what you got, and set it aside. But personally, what I've decided to do with my collection is I'm going to start organizing it not by specific publisher or specific series, but actually by artists and authors.
Oh,
So that'll
awesome.
make it a little easier. So that way, next time when I do go to the cons, I could be like, oh, I know exactly where all my Scott Kobelash issues are. And I'll just go straight to that. Or I know where my Todd McFarlane's are. So
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Trying to find a system is always so hard when organizing your comics.
organization. Like we said in our last episode, keeping everything together and getting yourself ready, which also brings us to another important point of being ready for CGC because
Yeah,
that's going to be
CGC
a
is
long
its own
line.
monster at, or CBCS.
Or CBCS, I've noticed they've been getting a lot of lines lately at the events. Like
Definitely,
before,
yeah, depends on the event, depends on the time, and who's going to be there. But yeah, I agree.
Right.
I've seen a lot of long lines.
Get your forms filled out and ready, everybody. It's that time again. Although we were just talking about this before. What did you just mention to me?
Yeah, so
about?
I just saw this new thing on CGC. I'm not sure how new it is, but I just read about it, and it's kind of like a fast track way to get your books signed. Or I'm sorry, not signed, but to get your books turned in to get them slabbed and graded. So I believe it's like an online way to pre-submit your form, and then when you go up to the cons, you can just go up to the booth, drop them off, and you're done. You don't have to wait in any lines or anything. Now,
That's convenient.
Yeah, now I'm not sure how that's going to play out with getting your signatures witnessed, but if you're not getting anything signed, you just want to turn in some books, this seems like a great alternative.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like what we were saying, I mean, the lines are going to be long, at least for
Yeah.
CGC and CBCS. There are the other options with PGX out there, and I've been noticing there are toy graders out there now and pop
really?
graders now. I don't know if it's pops, but in particular, but it's toys in particular, statues and figures. I think it's called APG is their company. And
that's interesting.
Speaking of which, I was just like flipping through to see who was on the list, like vendor-wise, of who's going to be there. Looks like Aspen Comics is going to be there.
Oh, always a great one.
They're always great. Peter's
Steigerwald?
probably Steigerwald. He'll probably be hanging out at the Aspen booth, so go check out the Aspen booth. And then they might have some more of those Dark Knight Metal Wonder Woman variants. They're out of the Superman and the Batmans. They sold out of those.
Oh, wow.
But they might have the Wonder Woman ones.
Cool. They had that Trinity thing going, right?
Yeah, and the cool Michael Turner Trinity covers. And then as I'm going down the list, there's a couple of little shout outs to like Golden Apple Comics, 11 Comics, our buddy Christian over at 11 Comics. He'll be there, and he's always got some great deals.
He's a cool guy.
And he's a really cool guy, yeah. He'll talk comics with you and, cut you some pretty decent deals on some cool books. And there's the laundry list of like other vendors on here, but we can't really go through all of these.
Yeah, let's get back to some of these tips. So
let's go back to what we wanted to recommend.
One of the biggest tips is don't rush to make that big purchase. I know you got that specific book that you want to get. For me, it's that Amazing Spider-Man 300. That's been on my list for so long.
You will not let that go.
I can't just let it go.
Especially now. I mean, because I was just looking at prices on graded 300s. Jesus, they
just keep going up.
They're over $2,000.
Yeah.
So for a 9.8, right?
Yeah.
CGC.
So, for example, with that one, I gotta definitely wait for the movie hype to go down and then, consider getting that one again. But that's the thing. You gotta make sure you have a list of books that you want to get. Know how much you want to spend on them for a specific grade. And, if you see it, don't just rush to make that purchase. You might see another vendor with that same book for a better deal. Or you might have to go to just another con or another shop to get that book. But don't rush.
Yeah, that's a good point to make, definitely. So, what besides 300, what else are you looking for in particular at Long Beach Comic Con?
That's a great question. Now, it's hard. A lot of the times I like to just go and see what's available and then from there kind of make a short list. But I definitely look for any Amazing Spider-Mans within the first 100 issues.
Okay.
I've been trying to collect all of those.
Those are good ones to find, definitely.
Yeah, I want to get Hulk 181. I know it's definitely going to be a big purchase, but that's on my list.
Yeah, everybody's going after that. But then again, there's also several international prints of 181 out there as well.
Yeah.
For a little cheaper in price, but I mean, they're not the original one, which was printed in English. I'm talking about the German, and there was a Dutch variant as well, and a couple others that were spread out internationally. But me in particular, I'm personally looking for some more of these. I just recently picked up some Tales to Astonish for my collection, and I got these on an auction online, but I am looking for more. I'm looking for the mid-series run right now. I'm looking from number 38 through number 70, which is basically
those
all
the Giant Man
Giant
and
Man.
Giant Man
and Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
with a couple of first appearances of Wasp thrown in there too. So,
nice.
Well, first appearance and several extra appearances of Wasp throughout the series. So those ones are on my list, along with like a couple of Silver Age X-Men's, but and then of course there's Game of Thrones books and Preacher back issues that I'm looking for. So those are particularly like what I'll be searching for at Long Beach, that's for sure.
Yeah, one thing I might also do is maybe get like a blank variant and get that sketched or something by an artist.
That'd be really cool.
That would be awesome.
Actually. And that's something that we've been talking about is getting sketches done and having those commissioned, which I think we're going to talk about that in our next segment.
Definitely.
In our next episode for sure.
Yeah.
But definitely one more thing we definitely want to go through today is
before we get into that, let's go over our very last tip. And then let's go over some of those comics that you brought.
All right.
So the very last one, and as you know, we've been talking this whole time about how busy these cons are and how quickly time goes by. So if there's somebody that you want to meet, get in line early. Mm-hmm. Let's say they're going to do a signing at 12 o'clock. Don't show up at 12 o'clock. Don't show up at 12:30.
Don't even show up at 11 o'clock.
You're going to miss it. Show up as early as you can.
Or earlier, yeah. I agree.
expect to sometimes wait, an hour or two in line to get a signature.
Yeah.
So the earlier you get there, the faster you get in line, the more you plan out your day, the more stuff you can get done, the more autographs you can get.
Yeah, unless you're spending most of your day trying to get William Shatner's autograph. I mean, let's just be honest. It's going to take you a long time because the guy loves to take his sweet time signing autographs.
All right, well, let's get into some of those comics you brought.
Right,
They look awesome.
Yeah, okay. So I brought only just a few books today for everybody to take a look at. But, not to mention we have a couple of books up front here that everybody's familiar with, a little Venom and a little DC Rebirth. But let's go through my garage sale finds. I just recently found these at a garage sale. The first one I found was the first appearance of Psylocke.
Awesome.
Number 256 was also a Jim Lee and Scott Williams cover. And I believe Chris Claremont did the writing on that issue.
Awesome. You never know what you're going to find at these garage sales.
It's very true. And for a couple of bucks, it's worth it. Because honestly, I looked it over, and I think maybe there's like one or two little tick marks on the spine.
That's expected with some of those 90s
Yeah,
books,
yeah. You want to take a look at that?
Yeah.
Go for it. And overall, it was a fair price for a few bucks.
One or two little ticks here, but...
Yeah, so I'd probably rate it at a 7 maybe.
Is that Jim Lee?
Yeah, it's Jim Lee and Scott Williams team up on that. So that's the first appearance of Psylocke right there. The appearance of Spider-Man number 299 with that little hologram foil cover there that they did back in the 90s.
Yeah, that was a big 90s thing.
Right. I also like it because it's number 365.
Nice. Yeah, I have my Death of Superman with the same hologram.
Yeah.
Cover.
It's really cool, but definitely for a couple bucks to add to your collection.
Yeah, definitely a cool one.
I can't complain. Now, I'm going to get into some new stuff that I recently just purchased that I didn't get at a garage sale. It was stuff I found online or at my local comic shop.
Oh, yeah.
So, the Joe Benitez Virgin cover with just Wonder Woman on it. His actual cover had a bunch of the DC ladies on the front with Wonder Woman in the center. I have those other two variants as well.
Yeah, no, I love the Virgin covers. You get to see all of the art. It doesn't distract. There's nothing to distract you from the art. It's just the art, and it looks great.
It does.
It looks clean. It looks awesome.
It looks very clean, and I like it a lot. So that was the Joe Benitez Dark Knight's Metal number 1. This is a mini-series, this ongoing mini-series.
This is a cool little series.
Yeah, it is. I've been keeping up with it, and I've been enjoying it thoroughly. And
Batman in the Shadow.
Yeah, Batman in the Shadow. And I'm gonna have a little review of that later on, because we're still waiting on the very last issue.
Yeah, let's get through that.
But this is the Francisco Mattina cover of Batman in the Shadow number 5. And it's written by Steve Orlando and Scott Snyder.
Scott Snyder, awesome.
Scott Snyder,
yeah.
big Scott Snyder fan. He works on
Batman from the New 52 and, Dark Knight's Metal.
Metal as well. So, if you guys if you haven't really checked out Batman in the Shadow, I'd definitely look for it, and definitely look for Francisco Mattina covers, because look at that. Take a look at that. That's pretty cool. I like his stuff. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, the way he draws Batman, it's just like a realistic kind of version of him. It looks really cool.
Right. So the next character that everybody loves, this is one of my DC hero crushes, which is Supergirl, of course.
I had to add this cover to my collection as well.
Right, because, everybody loves Stanley's work, Stanley Art Germ. And he's been doing a couple of these B covers, and he's going to continue to do them for issues number 13 and 14. So
I got that on number 12. I'm going to pick up 13 as well when it comes out in a few weeks.
Definitely look for those.
Yeah.
And then the very last book I have from one of the new series is for the Declan Schlevy Generations all new Wolverine and Wolverine book that where I believe it ties Wolverine back into the Marvel universe.
Now, I haven't read this issue, but I have read that a lot of these Generation books are going to try to have a tie from some of the original characters with some of the newer characters, and then there's going to be some everlasting effects to the universe. So I have heard that this might be a way to bring Wolverine back into the universe, but I have not read that issue yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't read it yet. I just picked it up, but it's definitely on my readers list for now. But I just thought the cover looked really nice and really
that's
clean
awesome.
and cool.
That classic Wolverine costume.
Right. So, but like those will probably lead us up to what's coming up next month with Marvel, which is Marvel Legacy, right?
Yeah, so check out our next episode of this where we're going to go in depth on a lot more things comics. One of the main things is going to be Marvel Legacy. And we're even going to touch base on some of the controversy with the lenticular covers.
Oh, yes, that's right.
But yeah, we'll go over that next time, and we'll talk about all of the issues that are going to come out and what we think about it. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and everyone here at My Comic Universe really appreciates it. Keep up to date. If you have questions or other con tips you'd like to share with everybody, please comment on the video.
Yeah, comment below. Let us know if you have any tips, if there's anything that you guys want us to talk about, if there's anything from our collections that you guys want to see, or if you want to see if we have in our collections, let us know.
And then follow us on social media.
Social media,
Twitter,
follow us on our
Facebook,
website, YouTube,
Instagram,
all
YouTube,
the things.
all of it. Yeah, I agree, Brandon.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great time.